in order to kind of set why this is why I'm willing to walk, it goes back to 9/11, and I'm sure 9/11 affected a number of people a number of different ways. It affected me in a way that I never really could have imagined, because before 9/11, I had this core belief that every generation was going to hand the next generation a better circumstances than what they found. And I just kind of went through my life with that as the assumption. And before 9/11, I thought to myself that I would be the best that I would ever do, because I don't come from a background of being a leader or anything like that. But I was a community activist. I was involved I was a town council member, I was a volunteer of the year, optimist, all that type of stuff. I had that going on, soccer coach, with a dad, and a husband. And then when that happened, I lost it. Because losing that feeling for somebody like myself was something I wasn't prepared for, and I didn't cope with it very well. I'll make this story short. I ended up in Georgetown psych ward. They lock the doors behind you, and I got to stay there, so you don't hurt yourself. And that was before that. Before I ended up there, I got divorced. I just quit my account. I didn't quit. My wife talked about, you can't quit because people voted for you. I bought the argument and I stayed on it. From that point on, I was no longer a good talker. I was pretty good at it before that. But after that, my focus was somewhere else. And I don't think that I was a very good town council member either. So I didn't run again for office, and I ended up in a cabin in the woods. Went from a cabin in the woods to Georgetown Psych Ward, and an apartment alone in Georgetown, and I started to, sort of get my mojo back. I started feeling better. Took a while, but anyhow, I started feeling better. And then it was, okay, I'm not trying to, I didn't have any expertise, but I wanted to at least delve in and try and figure out what was wrong. Was I really wrong and that every generation was going to be better, or was it something else? And so I decided to do my own research. I was in Washington, D.C. It was easy to do my own research. My clients were in D.C. One of them was right next door to Johns Hopkins Advanced School for International Studies, which was having all kinds of speakers from all over the place come in and talk about international relationships and what was going on. And they were talking about how powerful the U.S. is and how we will control, we will do this. And I was like, wait a minute, maybe there's another way we can go. I never got recognized. I wasn't anybody like I studied things. I wanted to find out who was doing what. And I studied UN reform movement. I studied the World Federalists. I won't bore you. I sponsored a group. At the time, I was pretty successful in my insurance industry, and I sponsored, I was the main sponsor for a group that met here in Boulder. It was called the Renewable Resources 2004. It was a big conference. They had about 30,000 people walk through. It was all displayed. I was there. And through that, I also met a fellow NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. We're in Boulder. I didn't know they were in Boulder. I read a quick short story. Years before that, there was a Mark Trail comic. Most people don't know Mark Trail, but it was a comic that was around there. And they had a picture of the globe out there. And they said, this is the first time there was a globe and you can somebody else would know what, you can project on a sphere. And I thought it was fascinating. I ripped it out, put it away, didn't think about it again. When I was going to go do this, I thought, man, getting that globe there would be really interesting because it's a globe of the Earth in real time. And so I called them up and they said, they just did it for GA, the group with GA. They just brought the globe to their annual meeting, and it cost them $340,000. Well, I'm not going to hand that globe there. So then I recognized it was a 303 area code, which is where the conference was in Boulder. So I called them back. I said, how far are you away from the University of Colorado Boulder? 5 minutes. Cool, I'll bring people there. So I hired buses, we had a full spread, we went down, we saw it go, and they turned it on, and this is where it comes in, it's like here, is Sandy McCormick, who I met, he's got the patent on this building, and he really thought that it was going to change all of us, because he could show, if we continued to do what we're doing, what was going to happen to the earth. And we stood there and we watched. So we watched the heat rise, and what happened, what was habitable, what become inhabitable. Fascinating, you know, if you get a chance to go around to museums and places like that. But impressed me, and that was the type of thing that I was doing at the time. I wrote a book on the same subject matter. I had 2 global plan initiatives, which was I spent a lot of money and I wasn't very effective. GlobalSummit.org was all in all, I guess I'm trying to say is I did my homework. I tried to find out what everybody was doing, what was happening in the West. So that's part of the story. About 10 years ago, I picked up, doing the same thing, trying to do my own research. I picked up a rather obscure book. It was $138 for a book that day, which immediately told me nobody's reading this book. And it was the Handbook for Intergenerational Justice, written by a group of German academics. And it is a very academic book. It's, you read it, yes, intergenerational justice is there, but you really have to want to know about intergenerational justice to do it. It's not colloquial talk, it's academic talk. But it was a start for me to change in intergenerational justice. I wouldn't be here talking about it. It changed the way I saw us and the way I saw our problems. And it took a long time. When I first read the book, it was just like it opened a little, you know, window to my brain or whatever, and I spent more and more time with it. And it eventually got me to the point where I'm standing here today and talking about it. And I will get back to it. We just to follow this. If I had more time to do the talk, but Jab was very helpful in that too, I only have slides here, and I will be keeping my own pace with the slides going down. But as is, I'm going to have to do this just to make sure that I cover what I would like to talk about. Yeah. So first, in getting back to that, but first I'd like to just share a perspective that I also came up, you know, doing my own research and found a different way of looking at us, I guess. When I say us, I mean humans. We're all, you know, it's like everybody, our current humans, yeah, we're all in it together in my eyes. So one of the things was that if you've, famous picture of me, put one in my office, put one in my home, the blue marble. You all know what the blue marble, that was the first time we'd seen the Earth from space. Now that, I thought that would affect us big time. And so, you know, like astronauts, they go up and they come back, they're never the same. They found a transition that took place because they saw us from space. I felt the same way when I saw the blue marble. That's our home. It's all I wanted. And it did affect us, but before that, there was another picture that I didn't know about, and only found maybe a year or 2 years ago. It's called the blue dot. Another fascinating story to me, but it was Voyager 1, when it's leaving and heading to deep space. Carl Sagan was talking to him and he said, please turn around and take one last shot at the Earth. And all the NASA people, we don't have the power, the battery power we needed. And finally he prevailed, and they turned around and they took a shot. If I had slides, I would have that slide here. It is deep space, and there's a little blue dot. And that also is our home. The whole human story, our complete story, our future, our past, all taking place on that little blue dot roaming around in space. That also interests me. But also, if you study the time frames involved, we the Earth, you go through, the Earth has got its own history. But us humans, we appeared 200,000 years ago. The ones with our hips, we have some ancestors before that, but the real 200,000 years ago. Now, if you go into the future, we've got a long future. The conservative estimate is 1.75 billion years. So, and I took the 200,000, divided it by 25, and just a usual generation, perhaps, and what you come up with is there's been 8,000 generations before us, and we're here. Now, we could have, if you do the numbers going the other way, we could have 320 million generations of descendants. So we're really early in our own story, no matter what, how we think about ourselves. The evolution of human intelligence is basically, in my eyes, and the numbers back it up, we've just begun. Our story has just gotten started. Fascinating story. I love being human, honestly. But if you look at it in printing presses, 1440. Before that, weren't a whole lot of books anybody was reading. Well, divide that, that's 24 generations of book readers before us. So not, again, not a lot. And there's so many things you can do this with. I just took 3 or 4 of them. Flight, 4 generations. Before that, nobody ever got off here. Now, my daughter took off and she's going to land with her children in D.C. this afternoon. Television, 3 of them. And I remember, I was there for when you first showed up. So were some of the others in this room. So it was a big deal. But that's how long we've had television. And computers, too. And one really big one, the internet. 1 generation. We're the first generation. I got to go down. And there's some real drawbacks to all this, too, as far as I'm concerned. But so we're very young. And things have changed just in a very short period of time, and we're trying to react to them. In the last 200 years, we've gone from 1 billion to 8 billion of us. And the Earth can't handle it, my feeling is, and that's the same as Sandy McDonald and so many others. The Earth can't handle the stress of 8 billion humans interacting the way we currently are. And there's just last week, today, 900 large burning forest fires in the Southwest. Last week, I talked to a friend 2 days ago, 9 inches of rain in D.C. There's, unless we do something different than what we're doing, this is why it's intergenerational, the pain, the suffering that's going to take place because we just, going on, just repeating. It's not just. And I'll get to that too. Also, I think what it's doing is it's having an effect on our self-esteem. Because what I talked about as far as the internet and satellite communications, we are the first to be eyewitnesses to all of the human activity. The pluses, the minuses, the destruction. My parents, they never had to deal with that. And I think we have to deal with it. And it's taking its toll on us because we're not fixing it. We're not doing it. And I don't mean it, there's an awful lot of people working very hard to make changes. Those individuals need all of us. As many individuals as they can get their hands around and say, hey, we have to do something different. Let me just take a drink of water. This is part of the technical side of this that I've already confessed I'm not very good at. Another thing is, you got all the things that are going wrong. Use an analogy to talk about. If you were driving down this road, any one of us that driving down the road, you're the first one at the scene of an accident. Most likely, you're going to pull over and see what you can do. So you pull over, and you get there, and somebody tells you, you can't do anything, go home. It's kind of, yeah, bummer. I thought maybe I could help. Do it a second day, same thing. No, you can't. Go home. By the third time it comes around, maybe you don't stop anymore, because they're going to tell you to go home. And I think that we're all, in a way, everybody's saying, well, you can't fix it, you can't change it, you can't do anything different, just go home. And so you feel kind of like, what can you do? And I know that I felt that way too many times. But also I think, using the time frames that we talked about, that actually my neighbors are terrific. We had a discussion the other night, it was similar. But I think we might be in the adolescent stage of human development. Sort of like the adolescent who comes in and throws the garbage all over the place and then walks out and thinks, that's not my problem. Well, then they, over time, you accept the responsibility. And I feel like perhaps we're in that same stage if we use the time frames. That we've been not cleaning up after ourselves, not leaving the next generation a clean slate, which, unless there's something that I'm missing, it's kind of like, that it doesn't work. It's the same thing as you were taught to an adolescent. Hey, you can't do that. You got to clean up. You got to pick up after yourself. It's okay. Take responsibility. So there's a possibility, if you look at a broader lens to look at us, that maybe we find ourselves in the adolescent stage. We're not trying to play down anybody's, because it's not about an individual story. It's about us, all of us, our story. And I will, getting close. Okay, back to intergenerational justice. And this is close to the end of this talk. But intergenerational justice is a new facet of justice. That, I talk to people and I say intergenerational justice is kind of like, what are you talking about? I don't know, it's like a dog. You're trying to ear to try to figure out what you're talking about. And of course, I'm always assuming, whatever you are, what do you mean you don't know about it? In Europe, they do. Excuse me. In Europe, Germany, it's an issue that people do talk about. But here, in the U.S., not so much. And I don't think it's because they don't care. I think it's because we just haven't had a chance to talk about it. And it's similar to, it's a facet of justice. It's about, similar to, it wasn't that long ago, we didn't talk about gender justice. We didn't talk about racial justice. We didn't talk about economic justice. And we just haven't had a chance to talk about it because it's about fairness. And everybody in this room at one particular point is a future human. We weren't here. Humans who were here didn't really have to be that concerned about us because they didn't know what was going on. And we do. And we find ourselves in a position of knowing, and justice and fairness is calling out for us, to do something about it. And I'll end this short talk. When I was on the town council, there was, we'd open every meeting with somebody who was a minister, spiritual leader, something. We'd open every one of our meetings. And I'm not a religious person. This is not a religious or spiritual talk. One other thing I'll think about that. I also have no desire to blame anyone for our circumstances. And that's just me. I don't want to spend any time trying to figure out who's at fault. I don't care who's at fault. I care what we go from here. But this minister with the high faith, and I don't know his name anymore, he was talking about gender justice. And he said that men and women are like the wings of a bird. They have to fly together or the bird will fly. And I'm here to say I feel the same way about future generations and current viewers. We have to fly together or we're not going to fly. And that's why I'm walking. I just feel like, okay, this is how I feel. Hopefully you understand. And to me, I have to do something. And I got 2 new hips, a new knee, and I have the desire, and I have a wife who supports me, I have neighbors who support me, and I'm ready to start walking tomorrow morning. So preparation and all that is another story, but I really didn't come here to talk about that side. I'm going to go on and answer any questions. I'm not a trekker. I'm learning as I go, but that I'm going to walk. That part you need to go. Other than that, that's what I had to say. Anybody have any questions for me? Kim?
I just wonder, are you hoping to, when you get to DC, meet with like political people, or is this not political? Or?
You know, people, I decided to walk, and then I figured that I don't know what's going to happen. I don't have any expectation. I don't have any plan. I think it's possible. I've already heard that there's a number of people. There's a bike trail. I'm going to walk from here to Percival, Virginia. Percival, Virginia, there's a WNOD trail. It's a 45-mile trail. And that will take me right into DC. It will also take me, which is cool from my end, directly through Vienna, Virginia. It goes through the middle of town. And that's where I spent 4 years. That's where I raised my kids. And from here to the other side of this building is a mural that I was handed behind. It's 25 feet tall and 125 feet long. And you know, if nothing else in my life that I never accomplished, that mural was one of those things that was fun. It was great when it was done. We all had a lot of fun doing it. I'm going to walk right by that mural, so it's kind of, so, yeah. When we put the mural up, everybody said that you got covered because there'll be graffiti all over it. And I was like, no, I don't think so. And it's now been 15 years. It's a little age. Looks really good. We had a lot of good advice and nobody's ever touched it. That's great. So anyhow, but then I thought, well, maybe when I get there, I might want to talk to a congressman. I may want to talk to a senator and say, you know, I walked here, give me an appointment. Let me talk to him. If I did, I know what I would talk to him about. So, and I don't think, you know, as our leader, again, I'm not trying to blame everybody, but if there's an antithesis, that short-term thinking about if I can help the people who are supporting me, that's all I need to do. And it's kind of like, no, that's not enough anymore. It was enough maybe a few generations back, but not anymore. So, depending upon what takes place, you know, Jerry's got a connection with CBS to her sister and her husband, and there's, you know, somebody said, well, no, CBS was willing to come out and talk to you halfway. Maybe kind of like, I'm not anticipating, I won't be disappointed if it happens, and I can talk about intergenerational justice. I'm sure you know by now, I'll take advantage of any opportunity to talk about it.
What do you want me to come away from after having a conversation with you?
If you've never heard the term before, now you've heard the term. That would be something to me. I mean,
But what does it mean to you? I'm a little fuzzy. You're going to walk a long way.
It means you consider the humans who are going to come behind us. You put them into your...
Taking more responsibility for the earth. Is that what it is?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure, as a human. I mean, it's kind of like, and ask that our leaders take more consideration. Bring future humans into it. Thank you for the question. I'm not a future human, you know, a lover of all future humans. I think that if we don't take future humans into consideration in our decision-making process, we suffer. Current humans are suffering because, for whatever the reasons are, we haven't had to. But for me, when you add future humans, and that's long-term thinking. That's what's going to happen to them. What kind of a world are we going to live? Well, we're not doing a lot of long-term thinking now. We're working by the seat of our pants. We didn't see global warming coming, climate change. You know, nuclear weapons showed up on our watch. And there's so much that goes into it because we weren't thinking. The Industrial Revolution. Who knew? Great, man, I can drive, I can do it. Well, we didn't think about what it causes up here. We have one quick one. If you took the Earth and you shrunk it to the size of a bowling ball, the atmosphere that we depend upon would be a thin coat of wax. We're not acting like that. You know, that's a fact. I'm not making up any numbers. That's our atmosphere. And we have one air filtration system, one water filtration system, all units. It's global. We've gone global. General Motors has 950 international lawyers. They're all over the globe. They don't treat, like it used to be, that their customers were American citizens. Oh, we're just one of many. You know? Let's sell the cars to any human that'll buy it. They don't care where they live. Our economy, it used to be that our way of thinking followed our economies. You know, whether it was a nation where here all these people are dealing with each other over creates some borders and organize the whole thing. Well, now we're all humans are globally. I'm sure in this room, we've probably got maybe 120 different countries representing our clothing. So it's just a change in mindset, change in thinking, to add future generations in. And we're, to me, the primary beneficiaries, or one of the primary beneficiaries. This goes back to the wing thing. I don't think humans can fly unless we consider future generations and bring them in to our thought process, our policy making. There's another, do the numbers. One more number.
I just want to say, now that's more concrete. Yes. Those are the kinds of conversations that you need to have.
Well, I'm not defending myself, but from my standpoint, I'm learning too.
You're what?
I'm learning.
Yes.
I didn't
Yes.
take a course in intergenerational justice or how to speak about intergenerational justice.
Yeah, I
But you need to be specific if you're going to hope to influence people.
Well, you learn, I will. My goal is not, I'm selling something, and I'm learning how to sell it. And this room is, they're all, critically important because this is the first effort that I've ever made to sell it in public.
Like being a first-year teacher.
Yeah. Well, I'm not, I'm here, and I think it's really important. I think we need to include it. The only thing I did was I Googled Map, and I said, I want to walk from Denver to DC, and I don't want to walk on any major highways. So I have directions, 19 pages, so they have them all laminated, directions. Some of them are walk 436 feet and turn left. Walk 89 miles and turn right. So,
You can follow them too
I'm sorry?
on the map. You can follow
Okay, what I was going to say is,
Yes.
if we know where he's headed and we know people will live there, maybe.
Oh, that'd be great.
You can do that on our website, there's a map.
On the Facebook page or something?
There is on here, there is a map of the route. And, if you need any additional questions, contact us. And we can,
We'll be carrying GPS.
There will be if there is.
Yeah, for those,
All about steering on the website. So there'll be a map there.
also, if you do go to the website now, because I don't think we fixed it, it's got, Bob is walking from Denver to Percival, Virginia. And that was only because I wanted to end up in Percival because I knew the rest of the route. We're going to walk that bike trail. Well, I'm not walking from here to Percival, turning around and coming back. Anyway.
Well, I was going to say, I think it's great that this was a surprising turnaround because I know you really wanted to, when we were talking, you wanted to have a conversation about intergenerational justice. And I think it's neat that you decided to do this because you could probably get lost in months of planning and preparation. And just so I think it's great. You're very sincere about it and you're taking off. And it sounds like a lot of what you're going to learn is on the road and you'll have conversations there. So I think it's very exciting.
Okay. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
I've never done anything like this. I walked the thing. I got a lot of stuff. I'm taking a comfortable chair. I've got a very nice, comfortable mat. I don't play. This isn't. I'm not the extreme athlete. I want to be comfortable. And I'm taking lots of food. I got a lot of advice. We went to REI. Sherry and I were at REI with my daughter and 2 grandchildren. They hung out for 4 hours. Sherry and I were there for 7 hours. They had a service, personal guy. Okay, we got your bedding together. Let's go over and look at food. Let's go over and look at, let's go here, let's go there. We need bug spray. Okay, came out of there $2,500 later. All the gear up the bus and in. I think I'm well prepared with the gear. I hope that the cart that I have holds up. It's Nick and Eileen, Arlene are taking me to the site tomorrow and drop me off.
What is the
It's
site?
gonna be
What's the site?
It's out of.
Oh yeah, I made it very early on that I'm not going to walk through downtown Denver with my cart. It would be dangerous, it would be, dangerous. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. So I picked a point that was east of the city that is basically a big horizon, because for my own purposes, I would like to walk off into a big horizon and not into a building. So it's
It's
going to
gonna be like the old Wild West. We're gonna drive it into the edge of town and say, go.
But it's gonna be the rising, not the west.
Anyway, that's the story. Unless anybody else has got any questions, I'll be glad to talk, otherwise I know.
I think you should
everybody's
get in
got-
touch with Al Gore.
I'm sorry?
You should get in touch with Al Gore. He admire you and who knows.
I've been, I've got a great support staff. It's just not like me to pick up the phone and say, hey, you want to meet me? If it ends up, anybody that can help broaden the conversation. I don't think I've heard, Al Gore is certainly concerned about the environment, as we all are. And I think it's well placed. But I would like to bring into the conversation future humans, intergenerational justice. What is our responsibility for future humans? Do we have a responsibility for future humans? I started to say before, there's 8 billion of us. We are nothing compared to future humans. The total number of future humans who could walk the earth if we get our act together makes us, we're minuscule. But we're really important to them right now. The current humans will, what we do, what we decide to do, how we decide to conduct our affairs.
So Bob, you are very passionate about this, as Jim said, sincere. Tell us one positive thing that you know about intergenerational justice that you've seen. So if you are sharing this and we change our mindset, what is something that we can look to as an example of change?
The whole environmental movement is what first comes to mind to me. All humans who are saying, hey, we can't just keep heating up the planet. Unfortunately to me, it's not enough. We're putting more carbon emissions into the atmosphere this year than we did last year. And that's not that we're not, a lot of people aren't making a genuine effort. It's our numbers. We're approaching 8 billion. Well, an environmental movement that's talking about 1 billion is a completely different thing than you're trying to talk about 8 billion. I don't think, and this one's, I'm not a nationalist, I'm not an internationalist. I'm just, I'm here, I figure I'm a current human. This is a concern to me. I don't think we're going to solve problems unless we go global with our problems, our solutions. Global and long term. If you hear me talk too much, Sherry's heard this from me. Global, long term thinking. It has to be part of the human experience. And right now, most of it, and I realize too, that most of us, let's get up in the morning, you got things you got to take care of, you got to do and run and do this and the rest of the stuff, and it's like, I understand. But those of us who have some time, adding global long-term thinking is a great addition. It just changes the way you look at problems, the way you look at solutions. And to me, at this particular point, if it's not global, if it's not long-term, I don't think it's going to work. I think we have to go. There's too many of us. We're too like this. We're all intertwined. And I'm not, I'll say it here, but if I were speaking in front of a VFW post meeting now, because really what I want to talk about, I'm not trying to make people get angry. I don't want, but I just don't see us in the long haul, being able to turn things around and actually cooperate. You've never had to do that before. DJ?
Well, I'm wondering if you feel like incremental, in your opinion, in your studied opinion that you've got so far, are incremental changes, things like, more electric cars on the road, more renewable resources, things like that, are those small incremental changes going to be enough to lead us to that eventually, or do we need a significant revolutionary shift in thinking in order to achieve what you're talking about?
Yes. And it's not coming from me. It's coming from what I think is one of the great thinkers that we, now, in my lifetime, he was here when and that's Albert Einstein. And he thought in a different plane than we thought. But one of his quotes is, if you haven't heard it, it's great, and I think it hits home with me. You can't change anything, you can't fix anything, I'm going to paraphrase, using the same mindset in which the problem was created. Our mindset today is, I was raised a nationalist, I used to get goosebumps, that thinking about, be successful, be personally successful, and I think that is a mindset. That we were raised that personal success should do it for you. And the mindset I see coming in, personal success is certainly important, but our long-term success, if we admit that, think about that, what's our personal success? What's it going to mean to all the kids are gone, we have enough, and all those. Their chances of personal success are going to really be completely different than what we're talking about. So yes, it's a change of mindset, but to my end of it, there's nothing to be afraid of with that. I think all this 7 inches between our ears, we're certainly capable of thinking long term, we're certainly capable of thinking global. We just haven't asked, nobody's asked us to do that. Think about all of us, where we're headed, where we're going. And I understand, there's so many things that if you do think along that way, has anybody ever heard of Esperanto? It's really cool, it's part of my research, I came across it. It's a language, a linguist, 1945. It takes 2 years to become proficient in. If we just taught our kids, everybody, they would speak the global language. 2 years of training early on, you could speak the global language, and everyone could keep the language. You could have Chinese, you could have something. So when our kids got together, they could communicate without interpreters. They would have a language. There's a whole lot of things like that if you begin to think about long term and global. Add that to it. We do an ad hoc thing right now, and there's a natural disaster, which is if we continue to do what we're doing, there's going to be more of it. And it's pretty much an ad hoc response. We had a tsunami. 400,000 people displaced. What are we going to do? Well, we got to get together. We'll call over here, we'll call there, we'll get supplies. Why don't we have a disaster relief centers located throughout the world? As soon as something hits, everybody knows what to do. And the only reason we're not doing that is because we still have to cooperate with them. There's so many things that can be accomplished if humans just decide that instead of trying to be the strongest. Look at us, somebody stopping your head. Our military budget. What could we do? Why are the world? That woman who was just Alexandria Cortez? A woman who was just she's now a representative on Congress. And the thing was, so last year we increased our military budget by $700 billion. They didn't even ask for it. They didn't want it. It's like $700 billion towards education, towards economic justice, towards racial justice. It's just in the early stages. But there's a lot to talk about. And once you flip your mind a little bit and you think about, can humans cooperate globally? I would love it if the U.S. citizens said, hey, you know what? I want to find out how many citizens around the world are ready to cooperate. Are we? We don't know because we don't ask. Because the people who are, the current structures that are in place are dependent upon going the same route, keep going the same route. Anyway, I feel like I've talked myself into. If somebody else has a pressing question, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for.
I promise to open the cards